Hello everybody, Steffi here from The Makers, and you're watching this today because you want to learn how to make one of these cute seals, needle felted of course, and this is actually streamed as a live stream, but I have pre-recorded this, so you will be doing as you normally do, comment, and Emma will be there to support the live stream as it's happening. There will be a prize and everything is exactly the same, except that I'm pre-recording this and I won't be there physically because I will be at one of the shows. Fingers crossed. So the seal is actually comes as a kit, which I've got here, and I'm going to start literally from scratch doing it with a kit. The prize today is for you to win a small penguin kit, which is very similar to the seal. So you see roughly what you get inside our small kits, and it makes one really cute, adorable penguin. This one here. You'll love him. He's really, really sweet, and you get to give him a nice and cozy scarf as well, which comes in the kit. And the question today is, are you ready? What fun name would you give your seal? And I really think it should be very funny. So think of funny names for the seal. Yeah, whatever, incorporate the noise that they make or anything like that. The size, maybe give something away there. So what fun name would you give your seal is the competition prize today. Pop it into the comments. If you're watching this on Facebook, and we are hosting that as a live stream, then the same applies. Pop it into the comment and we will pick a random winner, and then we will tell you during the live stream who this winner is. So today, if you're watching this today, it's the 2nd of November. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on our Facebook live stream, then it is the 4th of November, which should be Thursday. So fingers crossed I'm getting all my dates right. And let's have a look what's inside the kit. So let's open this up. They come in our telescopic boxes. They're really brilliant to use for storage as well, so don't chuck them away straight away. You can, of course, put them into your recycling bin. So paper recycling, definitely good. If you peel the sticker off, you can even put cardboard into your home compost. And you get a full set of instructions in there. Let's go overhead so you can see this here with me as I'm doing it. I just need to adjust the camera a little bit. Slightly out of sorry guys, this happens when I knock it. There we go. So the instructions, all of our instructions have got the tape measure here on one side, so you can follow our measurements in the instructions. If you're not working in centimeters, then don't worry, we've got it covered for you. You get all the materials listed here at the front. To make one of these little seals, you need 12 grams of white Shetland, 1 gram of grey brown South German merino, 3 grams of white Cape merino, and 1 gram of black New Zealand merino. You also need 1 pair of 6mm black glue-in eyes, 1 strand of black or dark horsehair, and we recommend you use needles the coarse 36 and the medium 38, and you need a felting mat. However, you get this in your kit here too. So you've got the wools that I've just mentioned, they're here. Just take them out for a minute. Then you have our Eco Wool mat, which you can take this little label off. Now, what's special about the Eco Wool mat, if you forgotten, or maybe if you've never used one, is that you use it like a sandwich. So you've got the 2 mats on top of each other. Sometimes the hessian isn't quite on the end of the, or on the base of the mat. It could be in the center of one of the mats. In any case, use it so that you sandwich the 2 together. And then you just step into that with your whole project. Now, these felting mats are small, but to be honest, I use these small ones all the time because there's not terribly much of felting that you can do flat on a mat happening here with the seal. And then, as I said, you get your felting needles, 2 coarse, 1 medium, so you can use those. And then you also get your little accessories, which I won't take out just now, but you have your glue-in eyes in there and your horsehair. This kit is plastic free. These little glassine bags you can recycle them. They're made from paper, so put them in your recycling. There's no plastic in this kit, which we're very proud about. These little mats, they can also go into your compost, so you don't need to even put them in the bin. Just put them in your compost, or sometimes it's nice to leave these things outside for the birds, because they pick them apart and they build lovely cozy nests in the spring, obviously not at this time of the year. So I'm just going to put this to one side because I don't need that just yet. But what I will do is I will be strict by following the instructions, which is something that I'm known for not doing very well. And you're making, you can have the choice between making an entirely white seal, or make one that's still got sort of some baby fur left here as well. And they are baby seals, so they're nice and squishy and soft and lovely. Right, let's get started with this. So first of all, you have two different types of white in your kit. I'm just going to put the darker colors away. One you have more of, which is the Shetland, and the other one you've got less of, which is the Cape Merino. Now the Cape Merino is purely there to cover the seal when you finish shaping it and added all the bits and pieces to it. So I'm going to put this to one side too, because I don't need that just yet. And all I need at the moment is the larger quantity of the Shetland white. We love this wool. You have to have a little sniff. It smells very sheepy, but it's lovely, lovely sheepy smell. And it's a particular favorite of ours because it has got short and long fibers all in this bat, which makes it a really good core wool to felt down quite solidly. It's also good because it's one of the whitest wools that we have, so you can use it as a core, but also let it peep outside. So when we do the robins, for example, you can use this also as the white showing, even though you use it as a core. So I'm going to have to split this into half, because that's what the instructions say, roughly into half. If you do want to weigh this, then it's about 6 to 7 grams for one half, obviously. And I'm putting, oh, it's really hard, not put that back. Right, have one half and put the other half to one side, and then you flatten it out into a rectangle shape of about 15 centimeters wide and 25 centimeters long. This is when your tape measure here comes in handy. So you want it about 15 centimeters wide. So I'm just teasing the wool, and 25 centimeters long. So this is a rough measurement. Now, if you have bits that are coming off, say you had something like that's come off, just put it in the center, have the larger piece underneath, because what we're doing next is, and I'm just going to move the mat here because then you can see this better. By the way, this is our earth-friendly felting mat, which, as everybody knows, is absolutely brilliant, and I've just opened a new one to give you a nice white one, but it is actually not helping seeing the wool here. So all you're going to do is you have this shape which is about 15 centimeter wide and 25 centimeter long, and you wind this wool in on itself into a soft sausage shape about 15 centimeters long, because that was the width, which will now become the length. And you want this to be about 6 centimeters fat around the center, so 6 centimeters wide. And what you see me do here is I'm teasing the fibers out as I'm rolling it up, because the more layers I get on there, the better. So once I've done this, and you do want to make sure it's rolled fairly tightly, so you're not rolling it too tight and not too soft, so you've got a little sausage there. I'm just checking. That's about the width. And I'm taking my little felting mat, which comes in the kit, and all I'm going to do now is I felt the shape all over first off, so that I'm firming up I'm not just firming it up, but I'm tucking these loose ends into the shape so that the shape is now secure. And I am felting all around, and what I'm going to do now is I leave one side unfelted and one side I'm felting closed, because what I want to do is I want to make a round shape here, which is going to be the chest of the seal, and I want to keep these ends wispy, or it could be the other way around, because that's going to be the tail end. So to make this round, you can sort of fold the wool over if you need to close this up. Remember, all of this will be covered. There will be shapes attached, and you will get a whole new cover onto your little seal, because you're going to add the Cape Merino as the soft, furry cover later on. Just reminding everybody, if you are watching this, there is a competition on which you can win yourself a penguin kit, which is one of our small kits, makes one super cute little penguin. And all you need to do is tell us in the comments here, if you're watching this live on the 2nd of November or on the 4th of November, tell us what fun name would you give your seal? Give us a funny name that your seal would be called. That's what we want to know. Right, so you see me shaping this round. So to shape it round, I have to go all over to make sure it's a nice round shape. And now I've got the wispy ends here still open. And what I'm going to do with these wispy ends, I'm splitting them into half, because that's going to become the fin end here. So in fact, I think they're called flippers. I'm probably using all the wrong words here now. So you can see I've separated. I've got a bit more here than there, but it doesn't matter because we're folding this in and felting it now. And now, still with your coarse needle, and you're resting it on your felting mat, you felt these flippers down flat initially. When you felt anything flat, you have to keep lifting it off your mat. Also remember that this is going to be a flipper shape, so you can already manipulate the fibers to sort of become a bit more pointy, and you can do this from both sides as well, but we're felting them flat at the moment. I'm just felting sort of into the sides to tuck the fibers in to make the shape slightly more flipper like, and then I'll do the same on the other side. And because it's slightly longer, I'm already turning this in. Lift it off regularly, felt it flat. It looks a little bit like I don't know, not so much like a seal at the moment, but more like a, I don't know, like a bullet, because it's nice and round. And so now I've made the shapes. They're not very shapely yet, but they're you can get the idea, and they're flat. I've definitely felted them nice and flat. And now I'm going to start by stabbing into the sides to round off the sides and take care of these wispy ends. So that means you have to watch your fingers and go into the edges of that of the flippers. And you might have to repeat that by going over it, turning it over, and also you might have to occasionally stab them flat again, because you're not trying to change the shape too much. You're just neatening it up and making these more rounded and neater. That's basically what you're doing here by turning them round. If it bothers you that this wool mat comes apart, just give it a few stabs into it, because you can felt these together. Turn it over, do the same here. By the way, this is made from recycled wool, which is why you get sort of odd pieces of maybe a different color in there. So it's not only that you can actually compost it, it's also already served a previous life, and we're giving it a new lease of life again. So now the mats are together, they don't come apart anymore, and that might make it a little bit easier to not have to fight the mats as well as your whole shape here that you're making. So go around it, felt it down, and leave that for now. So the next step that you're going to do is you are going to make sure that the transition from here to there is quite smooth. I've actually done quite a good job here already, but you're concentrating your needle more on the next section from the flippers up, so that you have got a nice transition from the flippers going up to the fatter body. And that is how far we are going now with the flippers and that shape of the body. And I'm going to put this to one side, and I'm starting on the head in a minute. So let's put this down. There you go. nice bit of shaping. So now you've got a nice transition. So it's not just flat here and then fat there, but it's actually it's shaped here as well. Right. So that's what it looks like now. It's a headless seal basically. So what we need to do next is to put the head on. In November, as you may have seen, we have got a new subscription box, which was released yesterday. So very excited that we've got the snowy owl. I haven't got it here at the moment, but you can certainly watch the unwrapping again, which took place yesterday. And also by now, September the 2nd, we will have done the toadstool house, which is there's one here and one there. So hopefully you have got your toadstool house ready for all the gnomes and fairy folk to move into. We have also done the curly hedgehog, which is definitely one of the most popular ones and lovely ones that people like. But oh yes, and Mr. and Mrs. Tomte. So I'm so excited to see all of those, which by the time you watch this, I will have seen. So I'm kind of yeah, already excited that I have seen them, even though I haven't. And yes, so basically that's it. But to look forward to, you have got the mini wreath, which is a new one that we've sort of kept under wraps for a little while. But this naughty little elf, he's holding one here, and it's such a lovely winter decoration for the Christmas tree. You can make many of these, and it's copied on from our big wreath, which of course you can make too. And we hope that by now you have made lots of robin baubles, Christmas pudding baubles, maybe reindeer baubles, maybe penguin baubles. Yeah, there are lots and lots of Christmassy or wintry projects awaiting you, and by now you're probably all busy. You've sorted all your Christmas presents, right? Of course you have. And we can mention the C word now as well. Remember the books, they make great gifts as well, and if you buy them from us, they come as a signed copy, of course. Our Wren kit is fairly new by the time you're watching this as well. Makes one really lovely little wren, and I love it in particular with one of our little crowns on. So do get your wren sorted, absolutely. And what else is there? Oh, there will be other things that pop into my head. Let's continue with the seal and see how we're getting on with that. If you're watching this, give us the thumbs up on YouTube. Definitely like it on Facebook as well. And if you know somebody who might be interested in joining and subscribing our YouTube channel, then please don't keep it as a secret. Be nice and share. And on Facebook, if you haven't liked our page yet, The Makers, which our Facebook handle is actually themakers.co.uk, so the squiggly bit, and then themakers.co.uk. And on Instagram and Twitter, it's just at The Makers. We have got a Facebook group called Everyone a Maker. So you can ask to join this group to share your makers makes inspired by our products, ideas, live streams, whatever. So there has to be a makers connection there, please. And of course, we've also got our surprise box spoiler group, which you are very welcome to join in case you can't wait to get your surprise subscription box and you want to know what's inside first. I'd be like that because I don't like surprises. Lots of you like surprises, so don't join that group if you do like surprises. Right, let's get back to our seal. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have to put a head on the seal. So I'm going to put this one to one side. And now I'm taking half of the remaining wool. So remember I took, this is half of the whole, but I'm taking half of what's left. Sometimes you can tell when you're tearing it in the wrong way and you have to sort of force it. So just turn it round and then it might come off quicker. So I'm taking half of that, put the other half to one side. And what I'm going to do now, very similar to what you did earlier, you have to sort of pre-shape it into a flat piece of wool, and that's about 8 by 8 centimeters. Now, this is definitely too big. So all you need to do is just take wisps off and lay them on top of each other. And yeah, that's about 8 by 8 centimeters. So I've got a whole wisp here on the top, but that's fine. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold this in half. So I'm literally folding it in half. And I have got my neat edge here at the top. And then I'm just rolling it in from the side. So is that right? Roll into, yes, that's right. So I'm keeping the folded edge at the top, which sort of makes a little snaky snail shape there, but don't worry about it, not snake, snail. And then all you need to do is felt the wispy bits here, felt these down with your coarse needle still, so that you can now secure the shape. And then you are going to felt the shape down more, starting at the snout, which is originally the folded edge. Leave about 1/4 of the shape unfelted at the opposite end. So if this is half, then this is 1/4. This is the bit that I'm holding on to because I'm not going to felt it. It's a perfect handle to hold on to your shape. And now I'm going to work on the snout because I want to make this smaller. I'm still not worried about the sort of swirly bit at the end of it. I'm just going to make that snout a little bit slimmer, and that's all I'm doing for now, making that slimmer. So you can hear that I'm going right into the felting mat because I need to really work on that snout, and that probably is sort of closing that slightly weird looking swirl at the front up as I'm doing it. So the trick here is, if you know you've got an issue here, don't felt into it because you're just enhancing the issue. That's a bit like, you know, you have a hole and you dig more of it. That doesn't close it. I know that sounds really, really logical. You wouldn't do that. But with needle felting, it's the same thing. It's just a little bit less logical. So if you have an area that's bothering you, the more felt into it, the more you make it an issue. So try and felt around it, and it often sort of takes care of itself. So that's more or less disappeared now, that area that looked like a swirl or a snail earlier. And I'm just working on this part of the head. So I've reduced the snout quite a bit, and now I'm going to work a little bit further towards the back, leaving these wispy ends that I'm holding onto unfelted, because that's that is the ends will help us to fasten the head onto the seal. There we go. Right, so that's quite firm now, and that's definitely fluffy. So all you need to do now is you're opening up these loose fibers as best as you can. So you've got a nice little platform there. And now you're going to take your shape that you made earlier, and you're going to really stretch these fibers across the body and fasten it on. Now you can put this at a slight angle going up, or it can be really flat. Now these babies, they often flop around, these seal pups with their heads on the ground, but if you prefer it that it's looking up, then do it at a slight angle. And then all you need to do is fasten these wispy ends in first. So you're basically attaching the head in that way, and you need to fasten these bits in first so that you can let go of it basically, and then step more towards the head, still in that direction of getting it attached to the body. So you can see my needle is going in that direction, and fasten that on, going all around until all these wispy ends have been tucked in. And because they often remind me, seals often remind me sort of of puppies. They have these sort of big heads. So we need to make that head a little bit more shapely. At the moment it's quite flat, and that is what a more of a grown-up seal looks like. They've got smaller heads in proportion to their bodies, but the seals have got quite large, the baby seals have got quite large heads in proportion of their bodies, so we need to make that head yet a little bit more shapely. But at the moment I'm still, can you see, I'm still going in that direction of the needle to felt down towards the body to fasten the head on. So it looks a lot more seal-like already, which is lovely. And now what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of the of a bulk of the head here at the back. And to do this, I need to take some more of the wool that I've got left over. So once you have felted the position the head, felt first down the wispy ends, which we've done along the body shape to attach, then felt into the head, snout straight on to make it more stubby or shorter. Now, I don't think I need to do too much of that, but I'll just do it because it says it in the instructions. I felted my snout quite well earlier on, but you can make it a little bit shorter by just going straight into it. And then with the remaining portion of head wool, build up oh idea, I used most of that head wool earlier, so you're meant to not have all of that half that I've taken off. You're meant to keep some aside, but that's fine because what I've got left now needs to be enough to make the flippers, but there's absolutely plenty. So I'm going to take a little bit of that wool and build up a wad to go on the back of the head. And to build up a wad, you tease the wool apart and lay it on top of each other. So you make a almost like a cushion. Can you see how that is nice and squishy? And then you lay that on the back of the seal where you imagine the head to be, and you felt that down around the edges first, because you want to build up some bulk on the back of the head. You might have to repeat this. So it's totally exaggerated at the moment because we're going to have to do a lot of felting, but you're building bulk at the back of the head. So you can see that from a flat head, now I've got that bulge there. And I've tuck in the fibers around the edge first before you start working on the actual shaping of the head. So get it on first, and then work your way so that you can start shaping the head. And do this by stabbing into what you imagine to be the forehead, because you're trying to build up a slight domed shape here, and then work your way around the head. Like I said, you might have to repeat that again. So what the emphasis is that we're trying to build a domed head here, but we're having to do that in small baby steps. So stab the wool on around first, and then work on the area that you want to emphasize. So as I said, you might have to repeat this if you're not getting such a domed head. You can also make the snout a little bit smaller. So that's the idea, is that you are getting your shape of the seal. What else is there? I'm just watching, just having a look. Okay, yeah, we're on target. That's all good. So I've got a domed head here, but if that head gets too flat, then you might have to repeat the process. We have got plenty of wool for the flippers left here, so there is plenty of wool in the kit as such anyway. And it's really important you work that snout firmly, because that's where most of the features will be added in a minute. So the head, the snout needs to be worked really well. If all fails and you were to run out of the white wool to build more bulk, remember you've still got all that soft Cape Merino that you're using to cover the seal with at the very end to give it that really soft pup look. You can always use that to build a little bit of bulk as well. So, but I'm quite happy with the shaping here now. So I've got a slight chest area here, though a lot of the seals that I've done before, they're literally flat, and that's fine. And then I've got a slight domed head here, which is now firmly felted down. I've got my snout nice and firm, and that's really good that that's firm. The rest of the body is still quite squishy, which is fine too. And still got my tail here, feels like very streamlined, like it could whoosh, go into the water and swim really well. However, we do need to give it some, what are they called again? Flippers later. We do that later on. For now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a wisp of black wool. And we're going to use this in a minute to make the nose and the eyes. In fact, we're making the eyes first. So you use your a wisp of the black wool, tiny wisp. It's probably too much even, and lay that to the side, on the side of the head. And we're doing this even though we have got glue and eyes. We're doing this because we want to emphasize the eyes. And all I'm doing is I'm literally just felting in a circle and allowing my needle. Can you see how magic that works? Allowing the needle to pull in the fibers into this circular space. And you do need to make sure that that circle that you're putting down for the eyes is going to be bigger than the glue in eyes. So at that point, it would probably have been good to look at it. I do know how big they are, so I haven't done that yet. But do get your glue in eyes out and have a look how big they are. So they're that big, and they're definitely a disc that I've needle felted down is definitely bigger. And then you have to repeat that on the other side. So just take a wisp of the black wool, make sure it's in the same position, and repeat on the other side. It's good to check that you're symmetrical. So don't just check it, look by looking at a head on top. Make sure that you're putting that second black disc in the same position as it is on the other side, so that you've got a mirror image there basically. And allow the black fibers to be tucked in by the needle as you're felting your little circular shape down. So got two eyes now, and now I'm going to do the nose, and the nose is done in a very similar way. They have actually got quite big noses, seals. So you put that on front of its face and start stabbing the wool in, again in a circular way, but it's almost like a semicircle, so keep it flat at the top, and then you can fold the fibers down. Can you see how that is making it flat at the top? And then just so you're sculpting the nose as you're going along. You have to remember that the top of the nose stays flat and the rest can be round going around it. There we go. Quite easy, because you can take your time to do it and you don't have to worry about it. Just tuck these wispy ends in as you're going along. If you've got some that are sort of not wanting to come in, then use your needle and twist the fibers around the needle as if you've got spaghetti on your needle, and that will make the nose. There you go. When that happens, I always think that's so cute, because it literally looks as if you've got a little seal appearing there. And now we're going to do something that you might never have done before, but seals have got smudges on their faces, little black smudges, and it's really hard to recreate those smudges without either felting black on or not doing it at all. So what you're going to do now is a new technique that you might not have used before, but you're basically using a bit of black, and you're going to stab this on all over quite deep into the seal. This time it's random, completely random. And once you've done this, you're going to pull bits off, but try and leave some bits on. So can you see how this has created now a smudge on the side of the face? And that's exactly what we want. So then you repeat that on the other side. You can use that same bit of wool probably. So a few deep stabs as if you're trying to felt that wool on, but you're not actually felting it on, because you're trying to tease it off again, and what remains are little bits of black. You can repeat this to make it more prominent, or you can leave it as it is. And that has helped us now to give this sort of impression of a smudgy, like it's got little dirty patches on the side of the head. And then you can give it like little eyebrows by felting a little a little strand of wool that you've sort of twisted in your fingers. They're more like they're not so much eyebrows, they're like a black mark just above the eye, and then you do that on the other side. So don't give them great big long eyebrows. It's more like another sort of little smudge more, and put that on top of the other eye. It always looks bigger before you felt it down. And then sometimes you just have to felt around the edge again, depending how firm the head is felted down. And that has basically added all the black features we want to add to the seal as it stands. I haven't given it a particular mouth. You can do that. I really quite like it when they stay like that, but you can add a little mouth onto it in black as well. And what we're going to do next is we need to secure the eyes, the glue-in eyes, onto the face, and then we're leaving that to dry while we're working on the what are they called again? The front flippers, that's it. So to put the eyes, secure the eyes into the seal, I usually use my needle, but if you have an awl, you can do that too. I insert my needle, mind where it comes out at the other end, as far as I can go, where the handle is barely sort of sticking out. Give it a jiggle. Don't give it a jiggle until it's really in there, otherwise you'll break your needle. And then instantly find that hole and insert the little glue-in eye. It really brings them to life, having that eye with a little sparkle going in there. And then you repeat that on the other side. Put that in straight away before you lose the hole. Push it in, make sure it's all good, you're happy with it, and then all you need to do is use your glue nozzle. This is just a PVA glue, nothing special in terms of glue quality. Add a tiny dab of glue behind it, there. Push it in so that it can dry, and repeat that on the other side. So you're not taking the eyes out again, you're just allowing, the glue to, if you put a bit too much on it and you use something like this glue stick with that has got that has got a PVA, clear drying PVA glue in it, you don't have to worry. Even if it's a little bit of white has been spilled, it will just dry completely clear. Right, so I've got my seal here, and the obvious thing that's missing are the flippers, so I'm going to go on to that next. But before I do that, let's have a look. This is what it looks like so far. It's very obvious what it's missing, and it will come in a moment. Right, so what else can I tell you? The penguin is up for grabs today, is our competition prize. Tell us a fun name for your seal. And I'm sort of, what I have in my mind, and you might already have done this and thought that yourself. Seals are actually, they're sort of quite comical how they move. They're definitely store a lot of fat, which is great for them because that gets them through the winter. And they make funny noises too. So you've already got three aspects that could lead to quite a funny name, and that's what we want. Give us a funny name of the seal, and then we pick at random a winner for you to get the penguin, the small needle felting kit, which makes one penguin with a red scarf. And I love these penguins, they're really super cute. We've also got our small kit, the snowman. Again, the snowman is one of my favorites, especially as a workshop, because you can make such amazing different faces with them, and I really enjoy doing that. The elves is definitely a fun pack, and that's also a live stream which is coming up sometime in November. You probably know the date already, but as I'm pre-recording this, I don't have the date. I just know that there is a live stream, so that is coming up. And you will have already made Mrs. and Mr. Tomte, and it's putting a smile on my face to just think about what might be in there. Remember that the making simple needle felts has got lots and lots of winter projects in there because it's split into seasons, so you get to make the Father Christmas in there, the snowman. There's a whole nativity in there. There are sheep in there. There's a donkey in there, and the Christmas baubles as well. So it's a worthwhile book to invest in if you want to craft through the seasons by making different decorations. And there are some really easy projects in there for children as well. And this is what I mean about the snowman and the different expressions. Oh, no, not that one. Lost the page, sorry. About the different expressions on his face. Where's he gone? There. Next one. That one. So you can make a happy looking, grumpy looking, I don't know, confused looking, anything looking snowman, which is why I love this project so much, because you can literally make him a funny chap. Right, so we're getting on with our seal, and what needs to happen next is that we're going to give the seal some flippers, which rather me lifting it and supporting it here on the mat, you can actually then support it on the flippers. So I'm going to give that a go now. Go back to the overhead camera, and what you need for that is the remaining wool that you've got here. And so basically what I've got left now, you take the white wool that you put aside for the flippers and split it in half. Again, go with how the wool runs rather than forcing it. Roughly the same there. And we're going exactly doing the same again that you've already done a couple of times, where you have a flat piece of wool. If there's wispy ends, lay them on top of each other. So you do this at about 5 by 5 centimeters. So the width is right, but not the length. So you can shorten it, lay it on top of each other. And then all you need to do is fold this in half, keep the folded edge at the top as you did with the head. And then you fold this in again and again, so that you end up with 2.5 centimeter width of this shape. And now you're going to felt this flat on the mat. Mind your fingers for this. You're still using your coarse needle, so no needle change has taken place yet. When you're felting something flat, remember you've got to lift it off. You can felt the other side as well. If you do have multi-tools, you can use multi-tools. For example, like the Clover 3 needle felting tool. It's really great for this. Speeds things up quite a bit. You don't have to. This is not a must. This is just in case you have one handy and you want to speed things up. Some people, not everybody wants to speed things up. They want to enjoy what they're doing. They probably think, oh, I don't want this to end, because if it's ended, I've got to buy another kit and make something else. So enjoy the process. Stab occasionally right into the side as well, so to tuck in the wispy ends, and stab all over. And then you're making straight away a second one. So as with the other part that we did the head, we're keeping this nice and wispy, and then we're going to do the second one. So fold it in half, then roll it in so that you have about 2.5 centimeters. You can measure that against the side of the instructions as you've done before. And felt it down. Remember to turn it over. Felt it on the other side as well. And if you have a multi-tool, use that. And by now your little felting mat is definitely solidly felted together. So this happens naturally anyway. It's just that you can do this at the beginning if it bothers you that it keeps coming apart. But now you've got one solid felting mat here. You can still take it apart, but you'd have to force it. And you can see now why I think that that size felting mat is absolutely adequate. It's perfect. Felting him to the side a bit, making sure that all the fibers are tucked in. And it's quite a solid piece of flipper there I've made. Nice and firm. Perfect. So what you can do next is you can add a little bit of black to it, like a little black feature that looks like you're adding claws to it. It's not actually claws, it just gives the impression as though you have done, so that you've got individual toes there. Do they have toes? I don't know. They're sort of not quite toes. Toes in the making in evolution terms. And then the other side. Last, just add 3. And then of course you're going to do that on the other flipper as well. Now this is probably fastened onto the mat. It's coming out the other end, that's fine. Just felt it down. Just felt it so that you tuck the fibers in rather than stubbing them all the way through the other side again, because then you've got them coming out there as well. So that's one. And then you do this on the other one as well. Exactly the same way. You will have lots of black left, so you're not going to use all of that. There's going to be lots spare. Felt this down here. 2. Another bit there. I'm not going to be so precise with what my black twisted wool looks like, because as you're stabbing it in, you can manipulate the size and the shape of it. Just keep it nice and thin. You can always add more. That's a golden rule in needle felting. Add more rather than pile it on. So more is less. Less is more. Dear, oh dear, getting that muddled up now. I've never said that wrong. There you go. Right, 2 flippers. Clapping. Yay. Ready to be attached. And you probably guessed that already. You open up the end of that flipper, and now you're positioning them so that you can have them quite underneath it, so that makes the seal look up, or you can have them more to the side. You can position them how you like, and resting your out. That was my finger. Mind your fingers. And attach them just like you did with the head. So keep stabbing the wispy ends into the body first. You want to really make sure that they are solid on there before you get sort of working more on the positioning. Get these flippers on. There. And stab them in like that. And then you're going to do that on the other side as well. So when you put it on, you can tell whether it needs adjusting, but you can still do that in a minute. Let's get the second one on. Obviously, make sure that you have the black part on top, so that it's facing up rather than underneath the seal. Won't be good there. And then make sure that you put that other one on in the same way. And stab the wispy ends in first, all around. Once the wispy ends are in, then you don't have to hold it so tight anymore, but definitely stab in that direction, away from the actual flipper into the body, and fastening. If you get a join, like it looks like you've just joined it on, that's okay, because remember, we are going to completely cover the seal with the Cape Merino at the very end to give it that really soft, fluffy look. So just get it fastened on, and then you can check, is this right? Do you want it to be more like that, so that it's higher up? If that is the case, now you can work on your positioning and get them to be either more shallow against the body or to be more sticky out, so that the seal's standing up more on it, or whether they're just sticking out on the side and they're lying flat on their tummy. That is up to you how you want to position the seal now, but get them on anyway, and then position them. There we go. Right, that's taken care of the flippers, and I can see that there's a bit of a join here, but I'm not worrying about it at all, because that's going to be taken care of when I add the soft Cape Merino onto it, which is the next step, what we're doing now. So the seal should now be able to support itself. It does. That's great. There you go. Looks really lovely from the side as well. It's got a nice profile from both sides. Looking good. And this really soft wool here now, this is the Cape Merino. It's a really, really short, it's the shortest fiber that we stock, and certainly that I know of. And all you need to do now is you need to cover it very patiently everywhere. So for this, you might want to go to your medium needle. So I'm switching over now to my medium, just got to find it. Let's use this one. Right. I think that's a fine there. Right there. So just stab it on. The reason why you're going to a medium needle now is because it leaves less of a stab mark when you're stabbing into it, and you probably will have some of that Cape Merino wool left as well. But it is really important you do this in small wispy fashion, in a small wispy fashion. So don't pile it on. You do want the transition from each patch to melt into the other one. So do it in wispy little patches rather than in clumps. That's not what you want. You do want the seal to be covered evenly in this, but not pile it on. That Cape Merino does not like being piled on either, because it's such a short fiber. It's actually really quite hard to the softer the fiber, that sounds really, really contradictory, but sometimes the softer the fiber and the shorter, the more it's a needle breaker, because your needle just can't find the way through. It's very dense. So soft and short fibers are often very dense, so the needle can't find a way through it, and then it breaks the needle. Even though short and soft sounds like that's good for a needle, it sometimes it isn't. And so with this Cape Merino, you do need to be really mindful of that too. So add the wool onto it gently. Remember to pop your comments in for a fun name for the seal, so that you are in with a chance to win a penguin kit. Make your seal a friend, even though penguins and seals are not friends. In this case, they could be, because they're youngsters. So you cover your whole of the seal with this Cape Merino. You will have some left over. You can go over the top of the head as well. You might have to use small quantities. Don't cover the smudged side of the face up. We do want to keep that black, but cover top of the head if you like. This is when you could build up a little bit more of a domed head as well. It definitely gives them a really cute soft look, because these seals, these seal pups, they have the softest cover of fur ever to keep them warm, and then they lose it later on, which is why you see bits of the brown appearing, because I think, contrary to what I just said, is that is the old baby fur. It's actually the opposite. I think that's when the new fur grows. I'm not entirely sure. I'm probably telling you wrong things, but I'm sure somebody will put me right. And add more of this to the back as well. So work your way around it basically, and then the only thing that is left is to attach the whiskers, which is the seal that I'm making won't look pretty by the time I have finished attaching it, because I have got to fasten each single whisker in with glue, and the glue won't have dried by the time I'm finishing here. So I will show you how to do it, of course, but just giving you the heads up that it might not look as attractive as it will be once the glue is dry. You can add this to the back flippers here as well. Just make sure you tuck the wispy ends in again. Sometimes you find stray long fibers of the Shetland, which you can pull out, or you can use your sisters. Don't use your sisters. Your scissors. Don't use your scissors. Don't use your sisters. Use your scissors to cut stray fibers off. I know people, when they want a really fine finish, they even sort of like shave it off. They have one of these bobble shavers. I'm sure there's a more professional word for it, but I can't think of it now. And you can shave these little fibers off to get a really smooth finish. They have to be, obviously you have to felt down your work well first. The seal is quite soft, the body remains soft, the head is firm because there's been a lot of adding going on. And so we don't want this to be, but the body is quite soft. You can still shape the body even while you're attaching the surface. So if you want to get rid of some of these wispy fibers, you can just literally cut these off. That's not in the instructions, by the way, that's just an extra tip I'm giving you. If there's bits sort of sticking out. So one thing that you can do sometimes, because they have so many fat rolls and they've got really thick fur to keep them warm, to show that off, what you could do is, and you can put them in a slightly different position as well, you can, whilst you're adding your top wool here, the Cape Merino, the soft Cape Merino, felt it down a little bit like that on the side of the seal. This is just in case you want to do this, you don't have to do that. And then instead of just leaving it like that, now you're going to squish your seal so that it looks like it's like in that position, so slightly curved. And whilst you're holding it in that way, you're going to felt in creases like fat rolls into the side that you're squishing, so allow to shape your Cape Merino that you're adding onto it, so that it gives the impression of a slight fat roll there. So obviously your seal will have to be in that curved position then, so you're going to have to shape it round. You can also bend it like that. If your base isn't flat yet, make sure it is, so that it isn't round anymore. Felt it flat, and you can give it these little fat rolls on the side, which also changes the position of the seal. So you can see with needle felting, if this is the first time you're watching needle felting, you're still sculpting. Anything's still possible. You can change the position, you can change the shape, you can add more bulk. Now that I've done this, I've got to change the position of the front flippers, and I've got to flatten down the back flippers a little bit because my seal is taking off. So that means I've got to bring the front flipper down a bit. So you can see anything's possible just because you already thought, oh, these flippers are in position, they're fine. Doesn't mean to say that they stay that way, because if you change shape, or if you change anything on your project, you might have to change other things as well. So this particular seal is raising his head quite high. I have got others that are just flopping around, which is what they do as well. So that's entirely up to you how you want to do it. You can felt more of a chest underneath it by felting into the chin area. Something else you can do. So there's lots of sculpting that you can still do at this stage, and that's ongoing and doesn't probably stop until you tell yourself enough's enough, let's stop this. So the last thing I want to show you is how to secure the little whiskers. Before I do that, just go back to the front camera. There you go. Nice and lovely little seal there that's literally just emerged on this felting mat. And the instructions are step by step. You get these in your kit, so you can follow if you haven't got the kit yet and you want to make the seal, you can get your kit now, then rewatch all of our live streams. Stay on YouTube as tutorials. We have a playlist if you need to shortcut some of the live streams, in case you only interested in fairies or only interested in something else, then you can obviously cut some corners there, and that's basically how the seal is done. And all I will show you now is how to attach the whiskers. If you don't know this yet, we have got our advent calendar. You should have them now. By now, they have been we have been promoting them since the summer. They have been posted by now. You will have had it by now, and hopefully you'll be ready to unwrap each present by the 1st of December. We've also got our winter retreat still available. Book onto this, drop us an email, info@themakers.co.uk, and it's something to look forward to, maybe something you want to give to a friend for a gift. So that is all happening at the end of January, and we are getting ready for the Animals in the Wood, which the Animals in the Wood Advent project. Hopefully you will still be able to buy yours by the time you see this, but if not, then you can still join the live streams and then maybe join the live streams and then get the stuff to make it. It will be available for those who haven't got the Advent project. You can still do it, but it will all happen afterwards, obviously after Christmas for you. Right, so now in my little pack, so don't forget, throw this away until you've got your horsehair out of it. And I'm going to go overhead because you can see this best here. The horsehair is basically just that horsehair, a long strand of ethically sourced horsehair. We buy this from it's from Mongolian horses, and it supports the Mongolian tribe families. They sell, and the horses are still alive and happy, just to let you know. Now this is going to be tricky to show you because it's such a fine thread. Oh, I know. Let's bring the earth-friendly felting map back, because that one is good to see the black thread against it now. There we go. And what you need to do is you need to thread a needle with the horsehair. And what I will suggest is thread the needle not too far, because you if you're now bending that over, that will remain like a permanent bend in the horsehair. So you make sure you have a really short end so you don't lose any horsehair, basically. And all you need to do now is you need to go in and out, back and forth, so that you have a bit of horsehair sticking out on one end. Then you're going back again into a different place, obviously. And now you've got a bit of horsehair loop sticking out the other end. So this will make two horsehair now, this loop. My needles just come off. That can happen. It's a bit fiddly, but it is definitely worth it. So remember to keep the horsehair right at the end. And then you kind of do this until you run out of horsehair. Make loops. The loops can be different sizes, because that's also in reality you get different length whiskers, so they're not all the same. At the moment they're all looped, because that's what happens when you go in and out of the it's like pretty ribbons on the snout of the and obviously we will be cutting these loops open in a minute, but you just keep going in and out, in and out. Might have to give a little hand to the loop to open up. You get a decent amount of whiskers out of this. Oh, that was quite a big loop. And same again. And wonder how many more. Oh, might end up with just one sticking out at that end now. And that's it. Oh, lost my I'm going to do this one more time, and then we'll cut open the whiskers. One more time. No, lost it again. Okay, I'm just going to leave it. I could probably do another one, but I'm not going to. So all you need to do now is use your scissors. I'm going to cut this end off. Cut all the loops open. There. However long that makes them, unless you've got a super short one, you can sort of just adjust them, but remember it will make the opposite end shorter. And now you've got your whiskers sticking out. They're all in there, they're in the right place, but they're not secured. So now you're going to use your glue pen, your nozzle, and just squirt little dots of glue to where the whiskers are coming out. There. And then you're going to have to leave that to dry. That will secure the whiskers, promise you. Just go all the way around there. There we go. All done. Leave it to dry. Don't touch it. And I just show you here, these whiskers are solid. I'm pulling them, they're not coming out. So that is, and it's completely dried clear. No glue left. That will exactly be the case on yours. Completely solid. So leave it to dry. And if you want to give your seal sort of the impression of the new fur coming, then you just need to use a tiny amount of this wool here. You'll have lots left over of that as well. And just stab it in gently, as it, even though it sits on top of the existing fur, so it's the wrong way around really, because it's coming through as a new one. It will look like the seal is about to change color, and you can do that all over if you like. And basically that is the end of this particular seal needle felted seal live stream. And by now hopefully you will know who the winner is of winning our penguin kit, which makes one small penguin. And I will have had whoever's watching this from the makers will have had hopefully lots of laughs of what fun names you've come up with for your super cute little seal that I want to see lots and lots of, and you can make them in numbers, because there's nothing better than have lots of seals hanging out together. And they're really, really lovely. And maybe you can find some big pebbles or stones and send us a photo. Definitely share it with us on Everyone a Maker. Let us see what your seals are up to and how they're hanging out. And just as a last thing, it just reminded me, so this year we have been supporting lots of charities to help with animals in need, namely the Cats Protection. In fact, this is our second time that we are helping them, and that's still coming up at the end of November, where you can buy a kit to make a cat bauble with me, and they're really, really fun to make. And half of what you're paying will stay with the Cats Protection, and the other half will turn up on your doorstep in form of a kit and a free tutorial that you'll be doing with me on Facebook, through the Cats Protection, through Craft for Cats. And then, of course, we are also helping the Dog Trust this year to raise funds, much needed funds, because so many dogs have been acquired during lockdown, and then people go back to work and they have to give the dogs up, which is such a shame and so sad. And so we are hoping to help them with raising funds as well, and that is coming up on the 9th of December. So there's still time to get your kits for either of those. And then we've got a date in the diary for the butterfly conservation. And we have done this once before, but you can now get your, well, hopefully now or very soon, I don't know where we might be, to get your kit to make a red admiral butterfly in January, the 20th of January 2022. goodness me, how did that happen? So this might be good Christmas gift ideas for you to get into and maybe craft together. The winter days are coming. It's going to be dark. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. It's going to be wet. All of that is coming. I'm not saying we won't have the odd nice day, but let's hunker down, enjoy ourselves, keep our hands busy, our mind empty. That's what I always say. And it soon will be all over, because when winter goes, there will be spring. So everything's going to be nice and warm and sunny again. But we just have to see these dark times through as best as we can, and be friends together, support each other, share things, and just be nice to each other, basically. So that's all from me today. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting the makers through yet another challenging year. Challenging for everybody, but we are very, very grateful, and I will see you very soon. Bye.